Hi everybody, I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me now is Forbes senior contributor Jamie Carter. Jamie, thank you so much for joining me.
No problem.
It is a very exciting week as you laid out for Forbes. We will be seeing a super blue moon. So first, can you break this down for us? What's a blue moon?
Yes, it can be quite complicated. Now, a blue moon is actually just when you have two full moons in one calendar month. This happens about every 2.5 years. So it's not that rare, but it has spawned the famous saying, once in a blue moon, of course.
I was just about to ask, it does sound like once in a blue moon, and what makes it a supermoon?
What makes it a supermoon is the moon's orbit around the Earth. Every month, the moon goes around the Earth in 29 days, and it's an elliptical orbit. It's not completely round, so it's always reaches points where it's further away and where it looks smaller, and also where it's very close and looks larger. And that's what's happening at the moment when that's coinciding with the full moon. So when it rises, it's looking larger than usual, about 15% larger and about 30% brighter.
And can you tell us what we're going to see? If you're just, a regular stargazer looking into the sky, what are we going to see that night?
It can be quite difficult to notice to the untrained eye because 15% bigger and 30% brighter isn't a huge amount. But if you view it as it rises in the east at a specific time, it does look larger, and that's because of something called the moon illusion. When the human brain sees the moon close to objects on the horizon, say tall buildings or mountains or trees, we somehow think it looks larger, and it can be quite a huge effect. When it's higher in the sky, it suddenly looks a lot smaller, even though technically it's even closer to us when it's high in the sky.
And just to confirm, when we're looking at the sky, we aren't going to see an actual blue moon, right? The color will not be blue?
It's not going to be blue, it's actually going to be orange. When a moon rises, it's orange, much like a sunset or a sunrise, because you're viewing it through a lot of atmosphere. The red light comes through more than the blue light, so you get a kind of an orangey moon. You don't get a blue moon, you never get a blue moon. So yeah, that's a misleading part of the myth, the mythology, and the folklore of this event.
And Jamie, you've released some tips and tricks to photograph this with your smartphone. What's the best practices?
So it's actually quite difficult to photograph a full moon with a smartphone, but you can give it a go. You just have to remember to think about the environment you're in and take a beautiful picture in your landscape. Some of the tips and tricks include pressing your finger on the screen of the phone to focus your phone on the moon, and then you can compose it without having to worry about getting any blurry images of the moon. It's very important to do that at the moonrise, though. After the moon has risen high into the sky, it gets too bright. Your phone just can't cope with it. So it's very important to be outside looking east at about 7:30 on Wednesday, tomorrow, to get the best picture and to get the best view.
7:30 on Wednesday. You heard it here first. These are good tricks because I remember a few years ago when there was the eclipse and we saw a lot of blurry eclipse photos on social media. So this is all good to know. But for any other stargazers out there, is there anything happening else in the sky this week that's of note?
Well, actually, you can see them both at once. As the full moon rises, the ringed planet Saturn will be just above it. Now, you may not see it at first, but as the two objects gradually rise together, you'll begin to see Saturn only a few degrees just above the moon. I mean, if you outstretch your fingers, you can actually measure it. It'll be about 3 fingers width from the moon. So really, really close. And Saturn's looking the best it's looked all year at the moment because it's also closer to Earth or rather, we're closer to Saturn in the whole of the year.
And why is that happening?
Well, we orbit the sun in a year. Saturn takes 29 years, so it's creeping through the night sky, whereas we're zipping round the sun in comparison. So every year we get between the Sun and Saturn. And also, this is the same for all planets. But at the moment, we're between the Sun and Saturn, so we're the closest to it, and it's also fully illuminated. So it's almost like a full Saturn. So you get to see a full moon and a full Saturn in the same tiny patch of sky.
And you will be able to see Saturn without a telescope, right?
Sure, you can see, it's hard to see the rings without a telescope. It's actually hard to see the rings even in binoculars, but you'll be able to see Saturn. It's about as bright as it ever gets at the moment.
Jamie, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.